Hi guys. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make the number 5 template flower. And this one's the one with one of the designs. And so with this one, you do not curl the end. So it's actually very, very easy to make this flower. So for this one, all you're gonna need is a scissors and a glue gun, and then your cutout petals. So let's get started. So first you're gonna start with making a cut between 1 inch and 1.5 inches on each one of your petals. And I usually stack my petals about 2 at a time just to make it easier. And I've actually pre-cut all the other ones just so I'm not standing here cutting petals this whole time. So now you're gonna take your petals and you're gonna put a little bit of glue right on the edge of the cut, and you're just gonna slightly fold it over, just a little bit. Not very much, because the more you fold it over, the more the petal will pucker and stand up. And in the end, that's going to make your flower go up, not as wide. So just take into account that you only want to overlap it just slightly. So like I said, you just put a little bit of glue and just slightly overlap. Okay, so now we have, I actually already did the other ones as well, so I've already done those ones. So now you should have 7 of each of these petals. I believe I have 8 of the smaller ones, just in case I need to show you guys something. So you should have 7 of each. Now you're gonna start by starting with the largest petal. So we'll put these off to the side. And so you're gonna take the base, and I actually cut my base on the Cricut beforehand, but it was too small of a circle because I didn't plan on making this big of a flower. So I just recut a bigger base just by hand, just to make it really easy and quick. So there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either start by just gluing the petals together without using the base. So you just start doing this and you go around. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can do it by gluing them on the base, directly on the base. And if you're a little nervous, this might be a better way to start, because you can kind of lay out how the petals are gonna be glued together, and then you can decide, you know, if they're not lining up correctly or if you're not leaving enough room. So you can kind of see how, like, you can line it up to see what it's gonna look like, basically. So you want to make sure, you know, they all fall properly around. So I'm gonna actually probably do it on the base just to show you guys. So to start, you're going to take your first petal and you're only going to put glue on 1/2 of it, okay? And I'll show you why when we come up to the last petal. So I'm just going to start by gluing the one down. Now, if you do it this way or the other way, and it's not coming out even, or it's just not lining up properly, you can easily pull up the petals and just readjust them. And I can show you that as well. There's possibly, you know, a possibility that these aren't going to line up properly. So I'll just show you. It's super easy. So as you're gluing them, I usually go halfway between the cut and the edge of the petal. It's just kind of a good guide to go by. Yeah, so just keep going around. And I cut my base obviously a little too big, but that's okay because that's gonna be against the wall, so it doesn't matter. And you'd rather cut it slightly too big than too small. So you can just go ahead and you can either cut it down or just leave it. You know, it doesn't matter. This is the part you're gonna be hanging on the wall, so it really doesn't matter what the size is. Okay, so you're coming up to your last petal. Now when you do your last petal, you want to make sure, see, and these don't line up properly, so I'll show you how to adjust that. You want to make sure to put the last petal underneath the first petal. And that is because then they are completely even and go around exactly the same. If you wouldn't do that, I'm going to just show you with this one. If you were to lay it down, this one would be behind both of the petals and it would just look a little goofy. So you want to make sure on your last petal, you put it underneath the first one, okay? And actually these did line up pretty well. So then you just take, and that's why you leave this one undone, because then you don't have to rip it up. It just makes it a lot easier. So then you just do that and you have your first layer. So now you're gonna go on to your medium-sized ones and you're gonna do the same exact thing. Start with only half of the petal, and with these ones you're going to place them in between the big petals, okay? So you see how I did that? You're gonna put it in between the two big petals because in the end it's gonna line up better. You don't want them laying on top of each other. It just doesn't look right. So you're just gonna go around and do that on every single one. You wanna lay it between each one of the petals, okay? Oops, those are the smaller ones. Okay, so you're down to your last petal. Now you're gonna do the exact same thing you did on the first layer. You wanna make sure you go underneath the first one, okay? So do you see how that went? And then you just go and you glue down that other corner and you have your second row. Okay, now you're gonna go on to your smallest ones. And I'm only doing 3 layers. You can do 4. It just depends on how big you want your flower to be and how tight you want the layers to be. You can easily do 4 layers. I'm just showing you a 3-layer flower. It's all up to you. So you're gonna do the exact same things with these ones. You're going to make sure they are in between the first or the second layer of petals. So then they line up the same as the other ones did. Okay, and as you're doing this, obviously you're going to be coming closer and closer, but you don't really need to measure it that way, because the only thing you really want to make sure is that these ones are in between the middle row and they all kind of sit at the same height. Okay. And if there's one right here, it's kind of standing up. I'm sure I put a little too, or I bent it a little too much in the beginning when I glued the slit. So you can just glue it down and then it lays down fine with the other ones. Okay, now I'm down to my last petal for the middle section. And again, you want to put it underneath the last or the first petal. And then you go and you glue that side down. And now you have your entire flower. So these ones actually go really fast because you're not curling any of the petals. And so now you're gonna do the center. And I have several different centers available in my shop. I'm just gonna show you a couple of them. This is one of them. Here's another one. Let's see here now. We've got this one. I don't know if you can see these very well. And then I also have another one. I have two more. This one is just a little different. I made one in color. Actually, that might look really pretty on there. And then I also have this one. It's more of like a flower. So I am actually, oopsies. Maybe I'll use this one because this is really pretty. Or you can always double up. You know, if you want to do one gold, one another color, it is completely up to you what your color scheme is. You know, you can do whatever you want. So I'll just do those because those look really nice together. And like I said, all of these center templates will be available in my shop and other listings. I just wanted to show you a couple of the different options I have. And then just put this one on top. And there you go. You have your finished petal.